Here's the thing with wrestling. Your heart has to be in every match. If it's not, it's gonna be
Half a lifetime ago, you debuted in WWE.
I loved it, and I had so much fun doing it.
There is no way the gimmick you had in ECW would ever exist now.
Never in a million years, and it's so wild to think that's how I started.
You know what really got Kelly over is that entrance theme.
Oh my gosh, holla.
At 25, what was it that made you go, I'm good doing everything else right now?
I was on the road nonstop for 6 years. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was kind of burnt out.
Do you think about going back?
Yes, I would come back.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow, just two parents hanging out here?
I know, just having an old chat.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You've got two, though.
I do.
And I know we've got our hands full with one.
You do.
What's life like with twins?
But she's so cute.
It's
amazing. Literally, like, they have such different personalities, which is so fun. And it's so cute to just watch them interact. Like, being a twin parent, it's unlike anything. Like, I don't know. It's just their bond, everything. It's just so, I mean, every day is like something new with them, you know? And they are just so cute together. They just started interacting in the last month. And my son adores my daughter. Oh. He just like looks at her and she does the same to him. And like, they have their own little language and they like talk to each other. It's wild. And my daughter is so sassy. Like, out of the womb, I was like, we are in trouble. Like, she is my karma. Like, I feel like how North is with Kim,
Ooh.
Brooklyn is going to be with me.
So it's Jaxon.
I'm a little scared.
And
Jaxon is the freaking coolest. He just chills. He's so easygoing. Oh my gosh.
Jaxon and Brooklyn,
yes.
right? How do you decide? Oh, they're both around your neck.
Yes, they're both on my neck.
Jaxon is centered, though. I was like,
oh, we should make them.
There we go.
You can't have one after the other.
There we go. So you find out, oh my gosh, we're pregnant.
Right.
That's a great day.
Right.
Then how long until you find out, oh, we're pregnant with twins?
Well, and I've talked about this openly about my IVF journey. And it's funny because when we were doing IVF, you know, we got a great amount of eggs. We had a great amount, and my doctor was like, let's put one in. And we put one in. It took, and then it didn't. And my husband was just like seeing me go through that. And like, we had a miscarriage before that. And he just saw how I was devastated. Like, I literally was like, is this ever going to happen for us? Like, it was just like I hit like a bottom. Like, I was like, I don't know what we're going to do. Like, I've always wanted to be a mom. Like, and all these things flash like before your eye. You're like, oh my God, am I never going to be a mom? Like, all this stuff. And my IVF doctor was like, I think we should put 2 in. I was gung-ho on it because and it's so funny because I talked to my friends from high school and they were like, you said you wanted twins when you were in high school. Like, I have wanted twins forever, you know? And so when she said 2, I was like, oh my God, yes. And so my husband only was like, oh my God, what if we have 2? You know, and she was like, well, that's, could happen.
Because the idea is not both eggs might not take.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like an insurance, like you're kind of just like, okay, well, one has to take, right? And so it took a lot of convincing from my doctor, me, our families. And he finally was like, okay. Like, he was on board and he was like, I just can't watch you go through this again. Like, I just, Thank you, God. And so we went in, we had the day, we did the transfer, and we put the 2 in. And the crazy thing about the transfer, I'm getting goosebumps when I talk about it, is we did the transfer on my dad's birthday. Oh. And my dad passed away 6 years ago of rare brain cancer called glioblastoma. And I just felt like to do it on his birthday was just like so like special. It was just, it was wild. It was wild that landed on the day of the transfer out of 365 days. Like, that's the day it lands on. And so I just was like, this is it. Like, I just had a feeling. I was like, this is it. They're both going to take. And so you have like a 2-week wait before you can like do a blood test. And I just remember those 2 weeks were like the hardest wait of my life. And then my IVF doctor, she's up in San Francisco, and we did a documentary with her, and she has like 6 different women, 6 different stories, and we were filming it for her documentary. So she was like, I would love to do the first ultrasound so I can see if there's 2 or not, right? And we had done the blood test, and it was showing high numbers. You know, she's like, but still, like, we don't know. And my husband's like, we have twins. Like, he was like, I already know. And I'm like, okay. So we get up there. She's doing, you know, she's got me laying down. He's like next to me. And I see the screen it's towards her. And I see her do it. And she holds up 2. And I literally was like, oh, and I have a video of it. I'm crying. My husband is like, his face is epic. Like, it's like excitement. And then it's like, oh, fuck. Like, we're having 2. And bless his heart. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you know, it was great though, because his brother had twins. He did the same thing, put 2 in, they got twins, right? So he kind of knew how twins were from his brother talking to him, because they're a year older than ours. But yeah, like, he, you know, the day they came out was like the best day of both our lives. So, you know, no regrets.
These are the cutest babies ever,
Thank
too.
you.
Oh, my
They're
goodness.
so fun.
And between you, your genetics, and Joe's genetics, we've got a future WWE champion and a future women's WWE champion.
I like
or
to
something
think that.
like that.
They are some strong, chunky babies, these 2. Let me tell you.
I don't know. Like, the first bunch of months for us were tough.
Yeah.
We didn't get a lot of sleep. And that's the cliche thing. Like, you see a new parent, you're like, how much sleep are you getting?
Yeah, I know. That's like the token question.
Yeah, and you know the answer is like, not a lot.
Yeah.
But you seem to be doing okay.
I am. You know, it's really about the schedule. Like, I've had to I did all this research about twins and like getting them on a schedule. And like, if one is going to sleep, you got to put the other to sleep. If one's eating, you got to wake up the other one to feed it. Like, they say never wake a sleeping baby. No, you have to wake them up. Like, it is the day we got out of the hospital, we had an amazing baby nurse come and stay with us and really help, because I was like, I can't do this. Like, I can't do this alone. It's just me and my husband. We have no family out here. You know, we were like, we need help, you know, and I could only be the best parent possible if I got a few hours of sleep, like, at least. So it was great. She got them on a schedule the day we came home from the hospital. And it was like a regiment. Like, it was like 7:30, 10, they ate 7:30, 10:30, 1:30, 4:30, 7:30. Like,
yeah.
We're like, oh my God, it's like military style. But it was so great for them. And then when they turned 4 months, they were sleeping through the night.
Wow.
And it was a blessing. And I've had so many women. But we also did this thing called Moms on Call. And it's an amazing.
We did that too.
Did you do Moms on Call?
Yeah.
The Bible.
Yeah, everybody listening who doesn't have kids are like, what are you guys even talking about?
I know. And I'm like, Mom, what? I'm like, I love this. Moms on Call. We know what it is. Moms on Call. Shout out. I love the owner. She's the sweetest thing. She did a Zoom with me and like went over all the things. And she was like, and people think, oh my God, you're letting your babies cry. And I'm like, no. Like, she's like, look, it takes 3 nights really. My daughter was basically already sleeping through the night. It was my son. He would just wake up once or twice. And she was like, just give it like 5 minutes. See if you can give it 5 minutes to where they're crying. He would cry 4 minutes and he would be down.
Wow.
And it was that, like, but I think it's from that schedule and they just got it, right? So, yeah.
What a wild ride you've been on. Not just the babies, like everything, right? Because when you think back on it, half a lifetime ago
I know,
is
almost
when
20 years ago.
is when you debuted in WWE. Mm-hmm. It's really crazy to think.
It's crazy to think that was almost 20 years ago, 19 years ago.
Wow.
I know.
When you think back before that, I know you were in school for broadcast journalism.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to sit down with a 16-year-old Barbie, what do you think that she thought she'd be doing for a living?
Oh my gosh. It's so funny. I look back, I was like working in a tanning salon, like just in Abercrombie and just.
You worked at Abercrombie?
I worked at Abercrombie. Did you see that documentary on Abercrombie? Like back in the
didn't
day?
watch it, but I know what you're talking about.
It's so true. It was hilarious. Like we would have to be, he would tell us, okay, we need you to look for like hot people to work here. If you see, like it was hilarious. That job was so funny. But yeah, I was like working. It's funny because I used to watch it with my dad. Like when I was 12, 13, never thought this was going to be my job, you know? Yeah, I was like interested and just like shopping and like tanning and never in my mind did I ever, and I was cheerleading and, you know, yeah. 6-year-old me, bless.
Did you just constantly smell like fierce working at Abercrombie?
And have like the little Playboy, like bunny little.
The tanning little, yeah.
Yes. Epic.
I grew up in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't have Abercrombie at the time.
Oh,
It
shoot,
didn't come
yeah.
to Canada till years later. I remember going to like Boston or something or whatever we
They have
would
like
go to
the shirtless guys standing there,
right.
like the hot
And I'm like,
girls.
what is this? And then someone pulled me aside. They're like, we think you could work here.
Yes.
man." And I was like,
oh, you have the look.
this is the greatest compliment ever. I could work at Abercrombie.
You got that look.
So then WWE calls. You've told the
Yeah.
story many times, but your entire life changes in that moment.
It did. It did. It was just wild how it happened. Getting the call from my manager saying, they saw my picture, love the look. Is she athletic? And my manager calls me and he's like, so I have this, and what do you think? What do you think about going and trying out for WWE? And I was like, sure. Like, I liked going to school. Okay, it was fine. It was not my passion. It was not what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in entertainment in some way, and that's why I chose broadcast journalism. But I hated it. I hated going to school. I was doing it to please my mom. I was out partying. 18 years old in Jacksonville, like living my best life. I was doing Hawaiian Tropics.
What was your fake ID's name?
Oh my God, it was my ID. It was just changed.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Okay.
My mom knows all of this, but I put her through hell. Bless. She's a saint.
There is no way that the gimmick you had in ECW would ever exist now.
Oh my gosh. Never in a million years. And it's so wild to think that's how I started. And it was so funny too. Well, okay, got the job, went to try out, got the job. I had to move to Kentucky. I had never been on my own. I had never even really done my own laundry. And I had to move all my stuff. Me and Alicia Fox got an apartment together. We literally had no furniture. I had a bed. She had a bed. It was like two college kids just living together, eating ramen noodles. It's wild to think about this.
And this is OVW, right?
Yes, this is OVW because we had the choice to go to Atlanta or OVW. We both chose OVW. I don't know why, but we just were like...
You're like, I want to live in Louisville.
Yeah, I don't know why. We did kind of hear Atlanta was hardcore. And we were like, because that's where our tryout was in Atlanta. We're like, that's a little scary. Let's go. Maybe it won't be as bad as OVW at OVW. But it was still hard. I mean, it was, yeah.
Who was at OVW at that time?
Oh my gosh, it was Punk, Maria, Beth, Cody, who else was there?
I mean, that's pretty stacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was quite a few people. Yeah.
And then you get called up.
And then we got called up I got 3 months in. And I remember Paul called me. It was Paul who called me and he's like, hey, we have this idea for you. Do you have any experience dancing? And I was like, no. I'm gymnast, very rigid, I was like, I cannot dance. It's not. He was like, well, we're going to teach you, okay? Because we have this idea, you're going to do this strip tease, and your jealous boyfriend's going to come and cover you up. And 19-year-old me is like, all right, screw it. I can get my foot in the door. It's okay. Let's see how it goes. And the first day I got there, I just remember, and having to tell my parents because all of my family and friends were watching because I was debuting. They didn't know what I was doing. I didn't tell them. I just said, watch ECW at 8 o'clock or whatever time it was on. And I was like, well, they're going to see. I'm not going to tell them. And I just remember my mom called me afterwards. Mind you, I think it was Kasama or somebody who was teaching me backstage the dance moves. And then I had to go and Vince was like, okay, this is what I want you to do. And I just remember Vince is like, it's Vince McMahon and Hunter's sitting there too. And he's just like, this is, takes his jacket and goes like this. Just okay.
The image of Vince McMahon teaching you this.
Well, and because I admired him so much, he was my boss and he was always, he was the most amazing boss. But he kept it so professional. I want you to swing it like this and then put the jacket down and, okay, Kelly? And I was like, okay. Okay. And so go out and I had rehearsed with a chair, okay? There was supposed to be a chair there. There was no chair. There was no chair on my first night. And I just remember on live television and I was like, oh my God. And I just started dancing and just so bad. And I was like, I feel like I'm getting ribbed on my first night. I feel like this was my test to see how I would do. And I just went with it, and you will never forget it because it took me 20 minutes to take my bra off. So embarrassing. Oh my gosh, so many things.
Well, obviously it worked.
It worked. You know, I came to the back, and Vince is like, I'm so sorry there was no chair. And I was like, it's fine. It's fine. Am I still have a job? Am I fine? But yeah, so yeah, that was the beginning. And then the next week I got hit with a Singapore cane from Sandman. They were just putting me through the ringer. You know what? But I loved it. I loved it. And I had so much fun doing it. It was a dream job. I got to see the world. I got to work with so many amazing people. Yeah, I just had the best time.
How do you get prepared to take a cane shot from Sandman?
You know what's wild is we rehearsed it backstage, and he made it seem like it was nothing. Like he was like, see, Kelly, it's gonna be like this little boop, and I was like, oh, that's fine. We get out there, and man, when Mike pulls me in front, and I see him launch it back, and I'm like, this is not. And he goes, boom, and I remember going back, and literally, I think I got concussed. Like I saw stars. I did this face, like my mom called me, she was freaking out. She's like, you made the face that you make right before you were gonna cry. And I'm like, I was crying. Like I was in so much pain. And they put me on the stretcher, and I just remember coming to the back, and everyone's waiting there. And my eyes are shut, and then I open them, and Vince is standing over me. He's like, Kelly, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. And Tommy's right there, and he's like, when you go to the locker room, everybody's standing out there. Don't you let them see you cry. Don't you let them see him cry. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, okay. I get it together, and I'm like walking, and everyone's like, how was it? I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. It was great. I get to the locker room, I'm like, oh my God. Yeah.
What a first 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's what I think. I'm like, these girls have no idea. These girls have no idea. Now that are there, no idea.
It was a totally different era at that.
It was.
What was your reaction when they told you your name's going to be Kelly?
The first week it was just Kelly.
Yeah.
And then the second week it was Kelly. So
nice, you got to say it twice.
I liked it. I honestly really liked it. I was like, no one's name twice. There's no two names, like whatever. And then I never knew why. And then I had heard that Vince had said there was like a episode of Cheers. Her name was Kelly. And there was a song called like Kelly. That's what I heard it was from. That's where. So.
You know what's a great wrestling name?
What?
Barbie Blank.
Trust me, I tried.
That's a
They
great
were like,
wrestling
it's
name.
Barbie's trademarked, and that was the end of that conversation.
But your name wouldn't be Barbie, it'd be Barbie Blank. Always Barbie Blank,
Well,
maybe.
you would think, but
That's a great wrestling name.
yeah, I know.
Kelly's, I mean, it's very memorable.
Second, it's close second.
Yeah, close second. You know what really got Kelly over is that entrance theme.
Oh my gosh, holla, love it.
The first time you heard that, were you like,
That was my jam. I loved it. Like I was like, yes. And I feel like it wasn't as a beat the first few years, and then I think maybe like my fourth year there, I was like, can we like? So I think we added like a beat, like more a beat towards the end.
I mean, just the hit of that, holla, holla.
You know.
What'd you think of that? Was that good?
So good.
Oh, was that
Yeah,
good?
it was good. Holla.
It sounds like your interactions with Vince were pretty good.
Amazing. Like amazing. I always looked at him like he was my boss. I only went to him one time, and that was when I wanted to become Divas Champion. Because I only saw him during rehearsal. This is the rehearsals, and he was like on it. Like, here we go. Okay. Rehearse, done. On to the next one. Just so professional. Like, just an amazing boss. Literally. I have nothing but amazing things to say.
So you approach him saying, I want to be Divas Champion?
I do.
Okay.
Girls had told me, okay, like if you really feel strongly about this, you've been here for 5 years, go talk to Vince. And I'm like, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. What if he's like, no? Actually, twice, because the second time I wanted to try and become a heel. That didn't go over well. So the first time was, they were like, just, what's the worst you can say is no. I'm like, okay. So I go in, and I'm like, Vince, hey, I have this idea. Like, I want to talk to you. What do you think about me becoming, Divas Champion? And he was like, Kelly, I think that sounds like a great idea. And I'm like, okay.
And that was the end of it?
That was it. So I didn't know when, I didn't know what. I just was like, okay, well, I put it out there, see what happens. So I think it was like a few weeks after that, we had it was like you go and you vote for who it was like the power to the people.
Yeah.
I love that. That was great. And there was going to be 3 of us. It was like me, Beth, and Eve against Brie Bella. And whoever the fans voted for was winning the belt, Divas Championship. And Brie literally had to learn 3 different matches. We did not know. Like, they were like, we don't know. This is literally up to the fans.
You actually didn't know?
We actually had no idea. No idea. And Brie poor thing, was like, oh my God, I have to remember 3 freaking matches in my head. Girl, more power to you, because I couldn't have done that. But so I just remember us standing there, and I was just like, wait, like live. And they're like, I think I got a really high vote. And then I heard that it went over to the next person because the person who was not supposed to get it, I don't know. I like to hear that story. I don't know if it's true, but there was a lot of votes for me. And so I as soon as they were like, Kelly, I was like, oh my God, I'm winning. Oh my God.
So you knew that you were going to win.
As soon as I went out,
The vote was just who was going to have the match.
Right.
Oh, so you're saying, well, so the people then picked the champion.
The people picked me.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was just so cool. It was so cool just knowing in that moment. And I just remember doing the match and just like, in the end, I literally was crying tears of joy. Like I was crying. I was so happy. It was just like the best moment. It was so amazing.
What a cool moment to like, you hear your name, your music hits immediately. Mm-hmm. You're walking out there not only knowing I have a match, but I'm going to be the champion.
And I had been there for 5 years and never had that opportunity. And I was just like, I felt like it was my time. I've worked so hard. I put so much effort in. I was always at TV's house shows early. I was in there practicing. Like I wanted to be good, because it was in the era too of like, Twitter just began and all these skeptics and she's a model. And it was just like, I had so many odds stacked against me. And I was like, I'm going to prove all you fuckers wrong. Like, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to get good and I'm going to, prove myself. And, I did. And I feel like it was my time. I earned it. I worked hard. And it was like Vince being like, you deserve this. This is your time.
You were the first of like that style of diva, that style of women's wrestler, which is now basically,
Well, I love being the youngest ever. It's so great. It's like, no one's beat me yet. So don't you hire an 18-year-old, please. Okay?
You hired at 19. You were the youngest by a lot. Mm-hmm. But the idea, like now, there's a lot of models or athletes or college athletes that are signed, and it's like, we'll teach you how to wrestle. That wasn't the case in 2006.
No. No. I got, I definitely got put through some things. Definitely just trying to like see, because a lot of girls, they hired a lot of women and a lot of women couldn't take it. You have to have thick skin. Like you have to. It was a male dominated business at the time. And you just had to learn just like have thick skin, just take it off, whatever. Don't let things get to you. Even like hardcore fans, even being in ECW, I had no idea about the fans in ECW. Oh my gosh, the names I got called in the Philly arena. I mean, I could have cried. I feel like I probably went to the back and cried a few times because it was just, they are hardcore. Yeah. And seeing somebody like me come into ECW, and that's another thing. I was like, I have to prove myself. I was like, I'll take the Singapore cane shots. I'll take, I took Mike Knox's move onto like a chair. And like, I was like, I'll prove it. And now at my age, I'm like, I look back and I'm like, there's no way. I was just like, had no cares. I was like, yeah, throw me into this. Let me do this. Like, now I'm like, oh my God, if I get in the ring, I'm like, oh, my back.
How did you do it? How did you develop the thick skin?
I just, I feel like I just wanted to be there so bad. And I just wanted to, like, this is like what I knew I was meant to do. And I was like, I'm not going to let anything or anyone get in my way. And I was just like, whatever. And then when I first got in, and this was like, Test was like amazing. Like when I first got in and we started dating, he really protected me. He really did. And I think like that first year, if I wouldn't have had him like protecting me, like nobody messed with her, he was a godsend. He really was like my protector.
What's your favorite memory of Test?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. This is like, I had been on the road a few weeks And somebody, and I think it was Kevin Thorne, who was telling me, he's like, oh yeah, they just hired this guy, Andrew. Tessie's coming back. He was like, oh, he's going to love you. And I was like, okay. And then I looked at him, I was like, oh, he's really cute. But I was like, whatever, you know. And I remember I was in the ring, and he was walking in. This was like the first loop. And he walks in, and he's like, something like, hey, jobber. I don't know. It was like, it's like, what's a job? Like, I had no idea. I was like, okay. And then he's like, what do you do? Like, I was trying to take back bumps and stuff, and he was just like, had his, I don't know, his burger. I don't know what he was eating. And it was funny, like, our interaction. Like, I was like, okay, he's like trying to flirt with me, but like, you know, trying to be like the cool guy. You know, like, okay, who's this girl? Blah, blah. Yeah. And then oh my gosh, I'm trying to think. And then he gave me, what did we do? We were traveling, and I feel like I was traveling with like Sandman, Sabu, Tommy, and he's like, what are you doing?
Car.
Yeah,
Wow.
Oh my God, I know. They really did. They were great. Like, they were so fun. Like, I was just like, oh my God, what am I doing? I learned so much. They were really funny. I just heard so many stories, and I'm just sitting in the back because I'm not old enough to rent a car. And Tommy really was like, him and Tess really like took care of me. And I'm just trying to think of like one Tess story that's like really funny. I mean, he used to call me jobber all the time. Even when I was his girlfriend, I was a jobber. It's just personality. We had a show. Oh, I was tagging with him. And it was me, him, and it was like against Tori and Tommy. We had our like a bikini contest, and no one knew we were dating at the time. And I feel like people knew, but we were just like trying to keep it a secret. And we had the match, and I was on the floor, and I think he was on the floor. And like we both were like laughing at each other, and it was just like cute. Like we were just like so giddy, and it was there were just so many funny memories.
He grew up like pretty close to where I grew up.
Yeah.
So I just always felt like he's one of us.
He is. He was so just like such a cool, down to earth, like just funny. You know, yeah.
You talk about like you wanted to turn heel.
I did.
I can't picture you as a heel.
I don't know why. I just had like a crazy hair, and I was like, maybe let me just.
You smile too much. You smile too much to be a heel.
That's exactly what Vince said. So I went in there, and I was like, Vince, I have an idea. Like, what would you think about me becoming a heel? And he was like, all right, let me see your like bad guy face, right? And like bad guy walk. So I was like, okay. So I like, and then I started doing this exactly like I had it like. And then I started laughing. And he's like, get out of my office. Like, this is why you're not going to be healed, okay? Like, no, bye.
Why would people dislike you? What was the storyline?
I had no idea. I just wanted to try it, you know? Because I saw everybody going and doing both. And everyone's like, there's no way. You're just too nice, you know? I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I think that's it.
It's very short-lived.
Maybe if you didn't smile so much and you were just like, you know, because a lot of women wrestlers are like, you know, the look at me heel, like the arrogant, like, look at me, I'm better than you.
I probably could have done that.
Look, you could have done anything. Maybe I couldn't make a heel face. It's so funny to hear that you retired at 25. Mm-hmm. Like retire and 25 in the same sentence just sounds weird.
I know.
But at 25, what was it that I know you just wanted to take a break.
Yeah.
But then what made you go, I'm good doing everything else right now?
I just think I was on the road nonstop for 6 years. No injuries. And the injuries that I had, I was still on the road because I was still able to do things because I had, you know, a broken rib or a sac burst or whatever. But they were like, you're still on the road.
A what burst?
My sac in my knee.
I have never heard of that.
Oh my gosh, it's gnarly. You don't want to. It's disgusting. Like literally, I hit my knee, and I remember it doesn't happen like right then. Like it's kind of like you feel like a little sting. And then like 7 hours later, we were at dinner. It was like me, Eve, and twins. It's like in Chicago, 11 at night, we're at dinner. And I just remember my knee getting nasty, like so big. And I'm like, you guys, they're like, what is happening with your knee? I'm like, I don't know. I text the doc. I'm like, my knee. He's like, oh my God, get to the hotel. Literally, they had to cut me out of my jeans. And my blood, so what happens is it fills up with blood and pus, I guess. And it's just like, they got to drain it. But the blood had already clot. And so he's stabbing it. And he's like, I can't, the blood's clot. So I can't drain it. You're going to just have to let it disperse. And so my leg was bruised from the toes all the way up to, my butt, like just bruised. It was wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're still on the road.
Still
You've
on the
got
road.
this
Still on the road.
bum knee.
Yep. I remember it was The Price is Right, who oh my gosh.
Bob Barker?
Bob Barker was hosting. And so I was like backstage and doing like the thing with him that night. And I had this like thing on my knee. It was on him, and I still had to work. And whatever. I was like, so yeah, I never took a weekend off. I was there. And I just was like ready to take a break. I think my neck had been hurting. And so they were like, totally take some time. I took a few months and I just was like, I felt like I was ready to do more stuff outside. Like, and this was like, girls weren't really doing things outside of WWE. Like you weren't really getting that much stuff. And, I was like, well, I want to do like modeling. I want to like maybe get into some acting. And I just remember like having this conversation with Hunter and he's just like, look, the door's always open, just whatever. Right. And I was like, okay, let me just, yeah, I think that there was nothing like really, there was not one thing. It was just like one day I had taken the time off and I remember I got the call and they were like, look, we're going to release you, but doors always opened. So I was like, okay.
And what were you doing at that time?
Nothing. I had
happy to be at home.
Happy to be at home. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just was like kind of burnt out. I was kind of burnt out. And I think they could feel that. And here's the thing with wrestling, like your heart has to be in every match. If it's not, it's going to be shit. And I just wasn't 100% in it at that time. Like I just was like, I was burnt out. I was tired. I just wanted to be at home. And I just think that was just like that moment in time because I had worked so hard and I was like, I just need some time. And yeah.
Now that you're a mom, do you think about going back?
I do. I really want my twins to see me wrestle. I think it would be so amazing when they get it, when they're like 4 or 5, and I don't even know if they'd probably get it then. But like seeing that's my mom and they're sitting in the front row. And I just remember watching Michelle McCool when she came back into the Rumble and her daughter was sitting there and her daughter's face was priceless. Like and I'm like, oh my gosh, because that's what I want. If you could just see like her daughter's eyes, like were just so big. And she was just like, that's my mom, like so proud. And I just like want that moment for me and my twins one day for them to just be like, that's my mom and just go out there and kick some butt for a few minutes.
So just a few minutes. just
I don't know. I'm up for a run,
Okay.
We'll see.
But
I don't know. These girls are so amazing who are there right now. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'd have to go to the performance center and really like, because it was so different. We weren't given the time. We weren't given, like these girls have such amazing opportunities now. And I just feel like they're just killing it.
So for them to be 4 or 5, we're talking Royal Rumble 2029, Royal Rumble 2030.
Yeah.
Like your number gets called, you go out, boom, 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 you get eliminated. That's what you're looking for?
I mean, something. Then you say it like that, and then I'm like, well, maybe I'd want to run. Maybe I'd want to have like a little storyline with somebody.
Yeah.
It'd have to be fun. I would love to do something with like Chelsea Green or like Maxine. I think is great. Tiffany Stratton, I think, is amazing. Charlotte's amazing, but I feel like she would kill me in 2 seconds. So.
I just had Chelsea on the show recently, and she was talking about how you are the reason that Chelsea Green is in the WWE. You're the reason she's a wrestler.
She's so sweet, and it's so funny because that story. I remember how this all went down. I had gotten a message from Tommy Dreamer, and they were having an indie show. I was signing at his arena, and he had sent me a text. He's like, hey, I have this up-and-coming girl. Her name's Chelsea. She's, like, amazing. She's going to be, like, the next big thing, and she loves you. And would you, like, do something at the end of her match? And I was like, sure. Like, why not? Like, that's cool. I met her, biggest sweetheart. And she kind of said, like, oh, my God, I love you. Like, and I was like, that, like, really means so much because, being there and not coming in as a wrestler, but, like, I really worked at it, and I wasn't like the wrestler type, right? So to have a, girl like that, like young and beautiful and saying, I look up to you, it's like, oh wow, I really am like making an impact, which is like so amazing and so cool that like little girls are looking up to me, and it's like, okay, I'm doing something right. So yeah, I did something at the end of their match. I raised her hand, and and then she's just freaking taken off from there. So
I feel like, so Chelsea said like she feels like she was in the wrong era. Like she feels like she would have succeeded a lot in your era.
She
in the
would
Divas
have,
era.
but whatever era, like she's doing so great.
She's doing so great.
Yeah.
So maybe, and I'm just pulling this out of my ass completely. What if she becomes the champion and says, no, I want to be the Divas Champion?
If they bring the Divas belt back, it would be epic, but I just feel like they're just not going to do that. But that would be a dream.
And then
that would be my incoming.
There's the run right there.
There it is.
There it is. We just fantasy book this right here.
Bring back the Divas Championship.
Oh, look, anything could happen.
I know. You never know.
When someone asks you now, what do you do for a living? What do you say? Because I feel like you do so many things.
I like to say like retired WWE athlete, model, influencer. Influencer is so funny when you say that too. People are like influencer. Actress. Like I just say I do all the things.
You do all the things.
I
mean, it's true.
Jack of all trades.
And I feel like in every week you could be doing all kinds of different things. Like last week, I think you were just at a signing.
I was,
right?
Yeah.
Now, what's going on this week?
Yeah, another signing. I took a year off when I was pregnant because it was not cute to be pregnant and do signings. Did not feel cute. I was like, let me just take some time. So now I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Now I'm booked like every weekend, which is great, but it's so hard to be away from the twins. Like it's so hard. It's so hard, but
I don't know how you do it. Like it's yeah. Especially when it's like, it's not just a way for an afternoon like this.
Right.
It's a way for
a weekend.
Like next weekend, Indianapolis, right?
Next weekend is Phoenix.
Okay.
The weekend after Indianapolis.
I will
the weekend
see you there.
after. Oh, yes. Very exciting.
See you there. And then WrestleCon.
And then back to Jersey.
Look at this.
It's wild.
And you just say, Joe?
Yeah, and it's sad because the weekends are like our time together. And so, but he's fine. Like he's such a great dad. Like he's like, babe, you got to go to work. I got this. And like, he just takes control and like, he's got it.
What are your memories of WrestleMania with Maria Menounos?
Oh my gosh, that was so fun. I remember they told us we were doing that. We were doing, and I feel like that was just a month before. Like it was not much planned. And she was doing Dancing with the Stars at the time. And so we just kind of like had to really plan that match kind of like around her schedule. And we rehearsed like that day with her. She was like literally flying in and I think she had hurt herself and, so we were very limited on that. But I love Maria. I had worked with Maria before. She's so sweet. And I just remember that I was so excited because I hadn't had a WrestleMania, just a tag team. It was always like a battle royal or a lumberjill or something like that. So to have just a tag team, it was like me and Maria and even Beth, I was like, this is so like, it was just like, that was my year. Like I won the Divas belt, then, WrestleMania. So it was just like the best year that I had been there. And I remember they were like, you're winning. And I had wanted to do the Molly go round for so long. And I was like, I'm going to pull it out. And I had never rehearsed it. I just had thought about it in that day. And I just practiced with a mat. And because Beth was like, look, just do it when we're out there. Just do it when we're out there. Just practice on the mat. And I was like, okay. So I got it on the mat. And I was like, well, let's just pray to God that this works.
Was there any moment of hesitation when you're out there going?
Oh, probably right before I jumped off. Like, please just let me stick this. Please don't let me like hit her. Or, I don't know. You never know. But yeah, it worked perfectly. So great. And then Maria, oh my God, then we did the stink face. That was so fun. I remember Maria had white on and we did it. And she had the makeup from Eve's face on her butt. It's just like, oh my God, the fans were, I was like, oh gosh, but Maria she was great. She laughed it off because she could hear fans being like, oh my God, what's on your butt? But she was great. And she was so fun and she was so professional. And yeah, it was really fun.
When you do these signings, what's the one question you know, or the one moment that you know is going to come up many times that day?
What was that? Sorry, the brain fart. Mom brain.
When you're at these signings,
Yes.
what's the one moment or the memory that people go, I remember you because of this, or I've always wanted to ask you this?
Oh, it's normally either ECW. I remember ECW, how you started. Whereas like when you won the Divas Championship, or yeah, those are really the famous two questions of like, or like, and then the question is like, who is your favorite opponent?
Then it's always, when are you coming back?
When are you coming back?
Yeah. And what's the cute answer you have for that one?
I always say never say never. I said that for years, and now I finally said yes, I would come back.
That's it right there.
Yeah, you heard it here.
But no, like we're waiting 3 or 4 or 5 more years.
Look, if I got a call, I'm not gonna like be like no.
Every like December-ish / January, like a Royal Rumble season, are you just kind of like, checking your phone a little more?
Yeah, I am. I've noticed though they're not really bringing back the girls.
There weren't really a lot of legends at all.
Not in the last 2 years.
Yeah. Well, I think the roster's so big.
Yeah, and they have so many girls that they need to fit on there, so I totally understand that.
And on the men's side too, there really weren't any
I feel like they need to bring back a women's pay-per-view, Evolution.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. And like, that's when you can bring back some of the older women,
Older woman? You're a legend, right?
I love that.
Is that the term?
Yeah. The
legend? You come out of retirement?
Yeah. I'm like, that would be a perfect opportunity, But, I'm like, Hall of Fame one day. Come on, guys.
Do you see that happening?
I wish, a girl can only hope.
I mean, I think you could make a case for it. Yeah.
I like to think so.
Do you still keep in touch with the Bellas, the Garcias?
Yeah, I do.
I can't get used to saying that.
I know.
With Nikki and Brie.
Yes. Yeah. Like social media is great because you can like feel like you've known somebody, see their everyday and what they're going on and stuff. And when I was pregnant with the twins, they reached out, and especially their mom was so sweet. She would always, I would talk about the twins, and she would be like, "Oh, I remember that with the twin," like talking about my twins and her twins. Their mom was the best. But yeah, they're all doing good.
It's funny how when you have kids, it reunites you with
I know, because
other
all
parents.
of us have twins now.
Yeah.
Reese,
Yeah.
Eve, the Bellas, Melina, or Rosa, Michelle. We all have babies.
This is a long list.
I know, Maria. Like everybody has babies now.
My nephews are twins.
Oh my
And
God.
what I think is always so interesting is they're always referred to as the twins, the boys.
The twins, yeah.
Like the twins, the boys. And I'm like, no, that's Colin and that's Clark. Like,
Oh, I love that.
like with you, I guess it can't be, you got a boy and a girl.
Right.
How lucky are you getting a boy and a girl?
Just one and done.
Oh, is that it? No more?
I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of eggs left. But my husband's like,
Little hair flip there. Oh, okay.
We don't want any accidents. Okay.
My wife the other day said, I want to have 3 more. And I went, excuse me?
Oh, bless you.
3 more, Rachel?
Oh, God.
3 more?
Good for you.
Maybe 1 more.
You're young.
I'm older than you.
No.
Yeah.
Well, you're a man. It's fine.
My
husband's younger than me, so he can handle it. But
I turned 41 in 2 months, so.
But it's the women that it's like, the time.
I like that you specifically tapped the wrist that didn't have the watch on it. Well done.
Oh, I don't know if you call that a blonde moment or a mom moment.
Well done.
I should have done that.
Mom brain's a real
showed
thing.
off that Rolex.
Oh yeah, there we go. That's very nice.
I worked very hard.
It's very sparkly. That looks great.
Thank you.
Mom brain, parent brain is
It's
very
a thing,
real
right?
thing.
You know.
Oh yeah. Are they talking yet?
No, they're in the phase of like the pterodactyl squeal. It's hilarious. I love it so much. It's so great when they do it. I'm like, oh my God.
Our daughter is, she says, dad, 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 but her first words were mama, mama.
Really?
And I'm like,
does she just say mama all the time? Because
It's,
I'm like, how do I get them to do that?
Mama was the first one. She
But
says,
did she say mama to her all the time to get her to like?
no, I don't know.
Oh, you're like, I don't know when she's not home. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
She's like, don't
It's a
you
lot
say
of dad now. Like,
Aw.
dad, 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 dad.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Oh, it melts my little heart. And I also like point at my wife. I'm like,
I know.
She's like, but the first words were mama. First words were mama. Do you feel like you have to slow down now that you're a mom? Or do you feel like I've got 2 more mouths to feed here. I've got to provide.
Yeah.
I got to ramp this up.
Kind of both. On one hand, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to like spend as much time as possible with them as I can and like really just love mom life and like be so involved all the time. And then on the other hand, I'm like, okay, but I still got to work. I still got to provide, like, I still got to do something. Because for me, I've always worked. I've hustled to get to where I am. I've worked so hard to get to where I am. And yeah, like I'm not somebody who's like, okay, I can't do nothing. Like I have to be doing something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What do you miss most about WWE?
Definitely performing, going out there for the fans. Like I used to say like the best moment was walking through the curtain every week. Just like hearing the fans cheer and scream your name, like the adrenaline, there's nothing like it. And then I have my babies and I was like, okay, well, they're number one. And yeah, it was just like that. And the travel was fun, but that was always like a lot. I don't think they travel as much as we did back in the day, but back in the day. It's so funny. I hear people say that. When I was there and I was young, I was like, back in the day. Now I'm like, back in the day, back in my day, 20 years ago.
What do you miss least about WWE?
The travel.
Because I think that a lot of fans don't realize it's not just the flights.
No.
It's then waiting in line to rent the car.
It was the car, like
then getting your own hotel.
Yes.
Then traveling to the next
yes.
town yourself.
300 miles a night.
Yeah.
And like that day, and like there's no way 4 pretty girls are getting to a hotel in the middle of nowhere at 2 or 3 a.m. like every weekend. Like that's just, it's so scary if we were doing that in these times right now. Like I can't even imagine, like you're going to like a Motel 6 or a Hampton Inn and you're just like, okay, well, let's see what we got here.
So when you weren't traveling with Sandman and Tommy and Sabu, who did you then move on to travel with?
Then I was traveling with Tess for a long time. And then when he left, I was with probably the girls. And I think I was traveling with like Mickey and Beth or like the Bella twins. Oh, the Layla, Extreme Expose. It was like Layla, me, and Brooke. And then Crystal would travel with us. But us 3 were traveling every week together because we were always together, right? Extreme Expose. And then it was the twins, Eve, Maurice. Yeah, it was always like all of them.
How like closely did you work with Paul Heyman in ECW?
Well, it's funny because I worked with him so closely. Like he was, if I ever had anything, any concerns, anything, I always went to Paul. He was amazing. He's a fellow Jew. I'm half Jewish. I can call him that. Oh, my Jew friend. I love him. And then what's wild is that I got the call from Paul about winning the 24/7 title. And he was like, randomly, because I knew I was coming to the show. I knew I was doing something. And he's like, Kelly. And I'm like, Paul, what are you doing? He's like, okay, so you're going to be the first woman to win the 24/7 title. And I was like, okay, fun. And then I was like, who's beating me? Because that was my second question. He was like, well, Candace. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I was like, don't let it be like, I was like, if Candace, okay.
So you worked with him pretty closely. He's now a future, he is a Hall of Famer.
Yes, I'm very excited.
I struggle with this. I'm like, is he a future Hall of Famer because he hasn't been inducted yet? Or is he a Hall of Famer because they announced that he's
a Hall of Famer, right?
I mean, he's been a Hall of Famer for years, really.
He's great.
He's
done so much for the business. Like, it's wild.
He's so good.
I know. I wonder who's inducting him. I hope it's like Tommy. That would be cool.
I don't know because Tommy works for TNA.
Oh, shoot. Who do you think it could be?
Oh, boy, now we're just going to wildly speculate here.
I know.
It could be anyone because of the entire career that he's had.
Yeah, but I just feel like it has to be somebody from ECW, right?
I would think so.
That would be cool.
Tommy Dreamer would make a lot of sense.
I know.
I don't know. I like that that'll be my pick.
Okay.
And I think that there's obviously precedent there with WWE working with TNA.
Right.
Jordan Grace was just in the Rumble. Yep. There's my pick.
Okay.
By the time this episode comes out, I'm sure they'll have already picked someone else and we'll look like idiots here.
Well, it's fine.
I don't know. That feels like it makes
sense, right?
It makes sense. Yeah.
I don't know.
When you're not signing, you had the wine line?
I did.
You
That
had a
was fun.
podcast.
I did. You know, if podcasts are hard, freaking kudos to you, because this shit is not easy.
Thank you.
Oh my god.
We're like 580 episodes in.
Oh my gosh, I did 5, and I was like, okay.
No, I
haven't seen revenue.
You did more than 5.
Okay, maybe 8. But it's just so much. It's so much work. It's just, you really have to love what you're doing. Yeah, it's hard.
I think it's hard carving out the time too.
Yeah, and
the
time was hard.
You were co-hosting with Jonathan Lipnicki.
I was, and I love him. He's so great. He was so good. I loved our concept, but we both it's in the studios in Beverly Hills. I'm far from that. You're like trying to find time for that, trying to find guests every week. It's freaking hard.
And you're lining up 2 co-host schedules at the same time. Yep. And now a guest schedule. But you did it.
We did.
Yeah.
We had a great media company. It was Kevin Connolly's media company behind us, and he's great. Loved him, but.
Well, maybe that leads to another podcast somewhere else.
I like being on them. They're fun, but nah.
I like being a guest.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some of this too.
Please.
By the way,
it's great. I'll crack one open too.
Okay, I saw who did this recently.
Maxine did it recently. Yeah. LA Knight loved it. You have the original flavor.
What is it?
It's a little it's sweet. It's like almost cream soda.
How much energy? Because I'm breastfeeding.
120 milligrams of caffeine.
That's just as much as I can have.
Well,
as your breastfeeding.
There you go. I have the citrus clarity.
Needs to know.
It's a little like cotton candy.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Wow. It's bomb.
Yeah, my wife is also breastfeeding. Far too much information here. But
I like that.
I know what you're talking about. Did this pass the Kelly test?
It did. It's really good.
We'll give you some more as you
Thank
head
you.
out of
My
here.
husband loves energy drinks
Oh,
too.
we'll send you home with a bunch.
That would be great.
Your husband's the best.
Thank you. You met him when we did the first one.
I did, and I was like, that is
we were newly dating too.
It was funny because I came over to your place.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, I hear this other voice, and I'm like, "There's someone else here? What the?" He's like, "Hey, I'm Joe." I'm like, "Oh." Hey.
He's a big man too.
Yeah, he's a large man. Was he a bodybuilder?
He was. But it's so funny because, oh my gosh, so we did ET when I was pregnant. And they called him a bodybuilder, but he was never a bodybuilder. He's an engineer. He is so freaking smart. He was like, why do they call me a bodybuilder? There's so much they could, I'm a freaking engineer. I'm building the damn subway that's they're building an underground subway here in LA. And he's
is this the Elon Musk thing?
No.
Okay.
This one's they're trying to have, it starts in Beverly Hills. It's gonna go all the way downtown. So they're trying to get it ready for the Olympics, the World Cup and stuff in 4 or 5 years.
LA is gonna have a transit system?
Underneath.
Mind blowing.
Yeah. So
wow.
he is behind that. He's amazing. So yes, he is not a bodybuilder. He is an engineer. And he is actually, and now he's getting his master's in business at USC. He graduates in May. So
fight on.
It's amazing. Yeah, fight on. Yeah, babes.
So
you have to air this. He'll be very excited.
Oh, this whole thing we're airing.
Well, I know that, but
we'll make
that part.
Oh, you want that to be a clip?
Yeah.
That's a clip.
USC. Come
there
on.
it is.
There you go.
It's so good to see you.
You too.
Congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
And you've got this mom glow about you.
Thank
and
you.
I love it.
It's so fun.
I end every episode now. We didn't do this before, so it's great.
Oh, okay.
Talking about gratitude. It's such a big part of my life.
Okay.
What are 3 things in your life that you're grateful for right now?
My kids, my husband, and my friends and family.
Sure. I love that. That's great.
It's a very wholesome answer, but it's true,
I wake up every day and we say out loud, what are 3 things you're grateful for today? It kind of sets the tone for the day.
I love that.
And then before you go to bed, you're like, oh, yeah. There's some bumps in the road, but at least we got boom, 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 these 3.
I need to do that. That's great.
You just did it right now.
I did.
Yeah.
I did mine for the day.
So, Barbie, great to see you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much for coming in.
It was fun.
How about cheers?
Cheers.
You rock.
So do you.